I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. It's called to order the special meeting of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees on Monday, October 28, 2025 at 6 p.m. Do board members have any additions or changes to the agenda for tonight's meeting? Administration?
Administration has no changes.
Then do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the October 28, 2025 special board meeting as presented?
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed vote nay. Motion carries by a vote of 5-0. This special meeting of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees has been called for the purpose of interviewing applicants for the Penn Township vacancy resulting from the recent resignation of Mr. Matt Chaffee. 5 candidates submitted applications for consideration by the board. The board considered each of them to be worthy and deserving candidates, and all 5 applicants were selected to participate in the interview process. Applicants being interviewed tonight are Mr. William Matt Ludwig, Mrs. Jennifer Smoker, Mr. John Todd Douthit, Mr. Ryan Woodruff, and Mr. Brandon Kastner. Each interview will last a maximum of 30 minutes. Board attorney, Mr. John Rogers, will keep time and will let each candidate know when time has expired. At the beginning of each interview, the candidates will be given an opportunity to make an opening statement, after which they will be asked 5 predetermined questions by the board. The questions have been made available to the candidates prior to tonight's meeting. Once they have answered the board's questions, candidates will be given an opportunity to ask questions of the board if they so choose. In making their opening statement and answering questions, candidates are reminded to be mindful of the 30-minute limit and to budget sufficient time so that all 5 questions can be asked. At the conclusion of the interviews, I will dismiss members of the public from the room so that the board can discuss the preceding interview. The discussion will last 10 minutes, after which members of the public will be invited to come back into the room and the next interview will commence. The resignation was received by the clerk of the St. Joseph County Circuit Court on October 8, 2025 under Indiana law. The board must select the new member by November the 9th, 2025. During this period of time, Mr. Gary Fox had pre-existing plans to be out of the country. Mr. Fox asked me to express his regret that he could not physically be present for these proceedings. Nonetheless, his input has been greatly valued by the board during the process. I now ask my fellow school board members to introduce themselves, followed by an introduction of the superintendent, Dr. Short, and I'll start at my right.
I'm Dana Sullivan.
Ryan McCullough.
Larry Beeler.
Katie Bell.
And I'm Heather Short.
And I'm Christopher Riley, and the interviews will now begin. I now call forward Mr. Ludwig for his interview.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board.
Mr. Ludwig, the board sincerely thanks you for your application. We invite you to make an opening statement that includes general background information about yourself and the reasons why you were interested in becoming a member of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees.
Well, I do know some of you personally, but I've grown up in the PHM School Corporation since the fall of 1977 when my parents moved into Timberline Trace. I attended Harris Elementary School from grades K through 12, Mary Frank from 3 through 6, Schmucker Middle School from 7 through 9, and Penn High School from 10 through 12. Played football, ran track, was part of the National Honor Society as well. Growing up, my mother was a well-respected educator in the area. While teaching, she also would help to bargain teachers' contracts. I remember growing up in teachers' classrooms as a kid, kind of admiring the dedication and effort that each of the teachers put forth in getting their rooms ready, for the next school year. I was also able to attend my mother's school's yearly 1-week camping trips to Camp Eberhart, where students were given a variety of outdoor curriculum, based on science, ecology, all those things. And I got to attend. And as I got older, I also was able to actually volunteer and help out. And that eventually led to my degree in pursuit in my education degree. I went to IUSB and obtained a Bachelor of Science in Education. I majored in secondary education. I majored in biology and minored in physical science and general science. I still remember one of the final classes that we had to take before we graduated, and I thought it was kind of odd because it was just a 2-hour class in a lecture hall, and it was entitled "What to Do with Your Education Degree Outside of Education." As I was sitting there, I didn't spend the last 4 years in college to not be in education, but little did I know sometimes things change in life. So I graduated and taught 1 year at Brandywine High School in Niles, Michigan. I taught grades 9 through 12. I was also a co-coach to the boys and girls 7th and 8th grade track. One of the interesting things too between the state of Indiana and the state of Michigan was in Indiana, we had the national teachers exam that we had to take and pass to be certified to teach in those classes. 10 minutes north, as soon as you cross the state line, Michigan does not recognize the NTE exam, so I had to take additional classes at additional expense just to be able to teach there. But again, what that is showing is that continued education was definitely a continued part of no matter where you were at. When I came back to work at the factory that I was working at, putting my way through IUSB, unfortunately, one of the brothers passed away and I was offered an HR position. And I've now been doing that for 27 years. That was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make. I really enjoyed working with kids and definitely the coaching aspect as well. But the other thing is one of the things I still get out of HR is I still also get to coach and help educate the workers, where I'm at. So the other thing is recently I received my SHRM SCP credential to actually formalize my human resource knowledge and experience. That's one of the higher credentials that you can get from SHRM for your knowledge. So I was very proud of that, again, went back to school, had to take a class. Well, I didn't have to take a class, but it definitely helped. And I was able to pass the test the very first time that I took it. So I'm interested in becoming a member of the PHM School Board of Trustees because I'm a lifetime resident here. All 4 of my children graduated from Penn High School. The last 2 actually just graduated last year. And I want to continue the excellence for future generations. Being in manufacturing, in business for the past 27 years, I see the need for education and for the kids coming out of high school to whether they're going to go on to college or whether they're going to transition into the workforce. We definitely need to partner with the area businesses to make sure that they have the skill sets necessary to become productive members in society. Again, all 4 of my children had different paths within PHM concerning the extracurricular activities and academics. And it was because of PHM that all of my children had the opportunities and experiences they might not have had elsewhere. Again, with as any parent knows with any of your children, all 4 of my kids went completely different routes. One was sports, one was National Honor Society, one was choir, one was dance, one was robotics. So it was nice that my children had that opportunity here at PHM, and I want to continue that. And then with all my time spent helping out and volunteering at PHM events for my children and my wife, who is also currently an educator in the PHM system, I also want to be able to give back to my community that afforded me and my family so many opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Ludwig. The board will now ask you questions, and I'll start. What particular qualifications would you bring to the PHM board?
Particular qualifications, I would say that I have worked many years within the HR industry, meaning management and employees. I would say that I work well with individuals. I understand, part of my education degree, I also understand that each individual has different capacities to learn and take in knowledge. I think that is definitely a plus. I would say that through my experience, through my SHRM certification, it has shown my years of experience and all the various knowledge that I've gathered throughout the years. With my education degree, I feel that I understand the needs of the teachers as well as our students. And what they need to be successful individuals going forth, to be, hopefully to help out, our community. So.
I will address question number 2. What motivates you to become a school board member?
What motivates me to become a school board member? Again, it's just that educator part of me that hasn't died, even though it's been 20 some years since I've done that. I just enjoy, helping out and giving back to the community where I can, especially the kids, especially, again, if it's supporting the staff. There's plenty of times I wouldn't call it voluntold, but I do enjoy volunteering to help out in certain things. And I'm already there at, I wouldn't say every single function, but I'm there at a majority of the functions, and I would like to continue to offer and add up anything that I can to move forward. So.
Okay, Matt, what do you see as the biggest priorities of Penn-Harris-Madison School Corporation, and what can you do to help?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. No, by looking at the strategic plan on the PHM board's website, I would have to agree with all of the areas. I mean, first off, PHM has to look at its finances, and we have to be financially responsible to be able to do the projects that we want, to have that vision and to be able to carry it out. But we also have to be very respectful and set priorities in how to do that. The next thing is for our teachers. We also have to ensure that not only do we need to make sure that our teachers are trained and have the current up-to-date training and skills that they need in order to teach in their areas, but we also need to make sure that we're also retaining that top talent within the PHM School Corporation. Obviously, that's being done by wages and by benefits. Those are the type of things that from the manufacturing side, it's tough if you have top talented individuals and they're not staying. So I definitely understand that. So that is a priority. And if we want our students to have the successful things that they need for the future, then we have to have the best teachers in the area. And then again, it's all of this is done by, one of the things I've learned in manufacturing is usually things don't go very well if it starts from the top down. Usually, we have to have good open dialogue and communication with all parties involved to make sure that we're doing the necessary things and setting the proper priorities to get things done. So.
I guess I'm next. What do you see as your role in supporting excellence in the areas of our school corporation, including academics, extracurricular activities, and facilities?
For that question, again, I see myself as a liaison. Again, I don't see myself as that we're sitting here dictating everything from the top down. We need to have an open dialogue and communication with all parties involved to make sure that we are getting all of the necessary information that we need. And from there, we should be able to hopefully make a determination. Again, within business, I understand sometimes certain priorities take precedent over other things. But again, it's all about having that open dialogue and communication and making sure that we're also eliciting the input from others individuals as well. So.
Thank you.
All right. What is the role of a school board member?
The role of a school board member. I see the role of the school board member, again, it's you're working collaboratively, and you're seeking input from administrators, principals, teachers, and students, and trying to help turn that into actionable items that will help to form and guide school board policy for the entire corporation. And then I put this in here at the end while still acknowledging each individual school's character and uniqueness. And from that, even though, yes, we are one school district, PHM, I do also understand that each one of our schools are unique and have their own characteristics. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we also need to be able to support our entire system while still also being able to identify and allow the uniqueness and characters that make each individual school who they are. So.
Thank you, Mr. Ludwig, for answering the board's questions. This is now an opportunity for you to ask the board any questions that you might have or to make any other comments that you'd like to make.
I appreciate you guys allowing me, selecting me for the interview and allowing me to sit with you guys. Again, I feel like compelled that I just, want to be able to help out, the school system that has offered us so much, myself and my family, and it would be an honor to, if I was chosen to fill that position.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for applying and for agreeing to come and be interviewed. The board will now stand in a 10-minute recess, and I'll excuse members of the public so that the board can have an internal discussion.
Not a 10-minute recess.
Is it 10-minute?
It'll be longer. We have time.
Okay. I'm being told that we have extra time. Also, seven applicants here.
Okay, second half, then we can go ahead and come to recess.
Yeah. So we'll stick to the script and we'll do a 10-minute recess, after which the board will invite the members of the public to come back in and we'll resume. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
back on the record and resume our public meeting. And I now call forward Mrs. Jennifer Smoker for her interview.
Hello, everyone.
Mrs. Smoker, the board sincerely thanks you for your application. We invite you to make an opening statement that includes general background information about yourself and the reasons you're interested in becoming a member of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees.
Thank you. Good evening, President Riley, Dr. Short, and esteemed school board members. Thank you for your time and intentionality with this process. Just as a community member, I really appreciate that. I've had the honor of working with several of you through the years, through other boards and committees, and I sincerely hope that we are able to work together again in the future. Some background information for me. I'm actually from Ohio, so I didn't have any roots in PHM schools. I do have a business background. I went to Miami of Ohio. My husband, Phil, and I have been residents in the district since September of 2008. So we've been here for a long time. We have 4 children. One is a sophomore in college. I have a senior and freshman at Penn High School, and then a 7th grader at Grissom Middle School. All of our kids have attended PHM schools from kindergarten through graduation. And I volunteered at every level of schooling, elementary, middle, and high school for over 15 years, and have served on several boards that directly impact students in PHM schools. I'm interested in becoming a member of the PHM School Board of Trustees because I recognize this as an opportunity to serve with integrity and grace. I want to impact schools in a positive way and provide skills and resources as needed to improve student and staff experiences. I believe PHM to be the best school system in the area in terms of providing experiences for our students, and it truly sets them up for future success. Our family, myself specifically, have considered serving on the PHM school board in the past, and so I'm excited about this chance to impact the community in a new way with positive intentionality, leadership, and organization. I have dedicated my life to our family and the organizations that are connected to us, and I just simply love PHM.
Thank you. We'll proceed with board questions. What particular qualifications would you bring to the PHM board?
So my husband and I have been small business owners for 20 years, and that I believe provides a foundation for understanding a variety of problems and solutions when operating a business. I've also been a professional board member for a variety of organizations for the past 15 years, including school PTOs, Girls on the Run, Junior Irish Soccer Club, the Granger Community Church Board of Directors, and the PHM Education Foundation. I've also been involved with the launch of the Early Learning Center preschool at GCC, which was several years ago prior to moving to Hubbard Hill and Elkhart. I've had the opportunity to lead a variety of initiatives in my time of service, including fundraising for various nonprofits, and I've raised substantial funds for programming and other things within the schools. I've been involved in the candidate search and interview process for leadership positions within organizations, specifically the new leadership at Granger Community Church most recently. I recognize the importance of building relationships within a school and how creating a true community within a school enhances the experience of everyone there. I've been through multiple principals at Meadows Edge and Grissom Middle School, and we've loved them all. They've all been different. And so I understand how leadership really affects the community within the school. Our children have attended a variety of PHM schools, including Meadows Edge, which, as you know, is a Title I school, Grissom, which draws from a more agricultural background, and then, of course, Penn, which blends everything together. And our kids have been challenged at every single level, at every single school. And I'm proud to say that our oldest daughter was a Penn valedictorian just a few years ago. So that's something I'm really proud of, and it just illustrates that all of the smokers work really hard.
Question number 2, what motivates you to become a school board member?
Well, I believe in serving the community in which we live and work. I feel like growing up, that wasn't something that was instilled in me. And so I think it's really a huge opportunity to instill that in others, particularly students, obviously, my own kids, and just living by example. I understand how important it is to have successful leaders, particularly within the school system. And I've developed relationships with many educators within the system and across the district. So I believe I understand the various nuances of each school. They're all very different, as my predecessor was talking about, but more importantly, how the schools work together. I think that's really important as well. I believe it's also important to have the perspective of another woman on the school board and a mother on the Board of Trustees, and more importantly, the voice of someone who's so connected to the schools and the district, and like Mr. Beeler, I'm from the south side of town. So that's always good. Different perspectives, I think.
Okay, what do you see as the biggest priorities for Penn-Harris-Madison School Corporation, and what can you do to help?
So I see four main priorities for PHM. Most importantly, right now, given all of the changes in state funding and legislation, I believe continuing to support excellence in education while hiring and retaining the best educators in the country is critical to our success. So teachers, staff, administrators, I think that's super important. I also think it's important to balance the budget, but also provide resources to continue to inspire educators and administrators to propel PHM to not only be the best school district in Northern Indiana, but in the state of Indiana and across the country. And I think funding and fiduciary responsibility are keys to that success. I've said this word a lot, community, but continuing to build community within the schools and then across the district and then within our greater St. Joseph County community is extremely important. I think having healthy dialogue, constructive feedback, and enhanced experiences will allow for greater success in our schools. And then lastly, updating facilities and enhancing current equipment leads to greater achievement within a school. We never want to be outdated or behind the times. We want to lead the area in terms of technology, academic offerings, and student experiences. How I can support that. So I have the time, the energy, the attention, and the bandwidth to step into this role, should you deem me the best candidate. I want to serve and impact others, and I strive to do everything with excellence, every detail, every experience. So I believe that I would truly add value in this role and would be honored to serve on the PHM School Board of Trustees.
Okay. What do you see as your role in supporting excellence in all areas of our school corporation, including academics, extracurricular activities, and facilities?
So having 4 kids, I'm already attending lots of athletic events and academic events, but I really believe in balance in all areas of life. It's not just about athletic achievements, although important, academics is truly the reason why students are here. And I support well-rounded students in every area of PHM, as well as the teachers and staff. I think it's important that everyone has balance, not just students. I agree with Dr. Thacker's famous triangle of success, and having the students, the staff, and the family support leads to the best school system. I think the academic offerings at PHM are unparalleled in the area. They're incredible for allowing students to achieve the greatest possible success while experiencing new areas of interest. The fact that students can pursue business or agriculture or robotics or whatever they're interested in, and Penn offers all of that, I think it's incredible. And a lot of that trickles down to the younger ages of the younger schools too. And I think that's really something special about PHM. It's so much more than what other school systems in the area that I believe we offer. So I would continue to support curriculum expansion. I think it's very exciting. And I believe that there are extracurricular activities for everyone. I think students should try something new and get involved. People worry about students getting lost in PHM. And I would say there is literally something for everyone. Everyone belongs here. And if a student can't find something that interests them, they have the opportunity to start that. In fact, 2 of our kids have actually started clubs around topics that interest them at Penn High School. And it was pretty easy to do. So I support areas of interest that help students feel included and a sense of belonging.
And lastly, what is the role of a school board member?
So overall, I believe the school board exists to govern the school system and oversee functions on behalf of the community, not getting involved in the day-to-day administration of each school. School board members are responsible for the following 4 areas I have: establishing policy and ensuring we are following state regulations, hiring the superintendent, which hopefully we don't have to do again anytime soon, but then holding him or her to the highest standard within our school system, approving the operating budget annually and the tax rate as needed. And it's important that the budget is balanced and works to achieve the goals of the superintendent, the administration, and the school system. And then lastly, representing the community. I will bring valuable insight stemming from my own experiences in and around the district. I want success for the administration, staff, and students, and it's my highest priority and something that I will not take lightly.
Thank you, Mrs. Smoker. I give you the opportunity to ask the board any questions that you might have or to make any final comments.
So I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say thank you for your time and intentionality again with this. I just wanted to end with, I believe in community and family, and PHM requires leaders that are able to make decisions that push our schools forward, but are also rooted in service to others while being fiscally responsible. I will work hard for our schools and this community, and I want to live a life that is intentional and generous with my time, talent, and resources. So I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The meeting will stand in recess. I'll excuse members of the general public for 10 minutes, after which we will resume. Thank you. our public school board meeting. It is 6:50 and Mr. Todd Douthit has come forward for his interview. Mr. Douthit, the board sincerely thanks you for your application. We invite you to make an opening statement that includes general background, information about yourself, the reasons why you're interested in becoming a member of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees.
All right, well, I appreciate the opportunity. As you can probably tell by my accent, I'm from Southern Indiana. No, actually, I'm from a little further south, from Georgia. And yes, I do like the cold weather. I never got to experience that growing up, so this is a treat for me. We moved here back in 2018, and I'll be honest with you, I don't see myself living anywhere else. I've really enjoyed it up here. Enjoy the people, the weather, the activities, and of course, the school system was a big part of why we picked this area. 5 years ago, I dropped my daughter off at Bittersweet for school and noticed that they didn't have a fence around the front playground. And I joked with some friends saying, I'll probably have to end up getting on the board to get that taken care of one day. Shortly thereafter, they added a fence, but I still think it needs to be extended a little bit farther. So here I am 5 years later, being interviewed by the board for a chance to become a member. As a true outsider, I know my odds are probably long, but like Rain Ritchie said, you miss every shot you don't take. So here I am for this opportunity to become a board member, and I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you for the opening statement. What qualifications do you bring to the PHM board?
I feel I can bring a new perspective to the board that focuses on common sense, solving problems, and helping the PHM schools reach their goals at full potential. As I mentioned, as an outsider, I do have a different perspective on things, but the majority of what I've seen from the school school systems have been very, very positive. I've been fortunate enough to be able to chair several committees, local chambers of commerces that focused on school and student-related topics, such as career paths, report card verifications, and the relationship between schools and business. I enjoy this because it gave me the opportunity to interact with the students, present topics to them, receive their feedback, along with the feedback of the staff. With 20 plus years as a HR manager, I've dealt with a wide variety of people. I can promise you that. Not only just people, but personalities and issues in numerous and very different environments, ranging from theme parks with high school kids to military contracts dealing with former special forces soldiers. So, and everything in between. So, as I mentioned, a wide variety. However, all these revolved around two main factors, which were solving problems and dealing with people.
All right, question number 2. What motivates you to become a school board member?
Two main things motivate me to become a member, and that is my son and my daughter. They're both at Bittersweet Elementary, and I want them to have the best and safest experience possible during their school years. And to do so, I want them to have the best resources, best teachers, and best atmosphere to learn in during that time. I know there are a lot of distractions for kids these days, both inside and out of school. However, I want to make sure that their main focus is on the 3 R's, which, as we know, are reading, writing, and arithmetics first, which, based on the scores I've seen, I feel PHM does a good job of this. But like I said, I want to make sure that that continues.
Okay, what do you see as the biggest priorities for Penn-Harris-Madison School Corporation, and what can you do to help?
I feel the biggest priority is to make sure our schools remain in the top rankings for standards in the state and nationally. This is one reason I chose to live in the school district when we moved up here. I did a lot of research on that and looked in surrounding areas, and this is by far the best choice. To maintain these standards, we need to make sure the students, teachers, and staff have everything they need to succeed and excel, whether it be facilities or educational resources and equipment. This would be done by getting their constant feedback and input. I would like to compliment the board for handling of COVID, how that was done. At least from my perspective, with a kindergartner at the time, I thought the teachers did a great job with the students and their learning. Which brings up another priority, which would be the focus and be prepared for any future pandemics or reasons that students would not be in the classroom for an extended period of time. I think it'd be a very high priority to get ahead of that before it comes up again. The final priority, which could also be the main one, is the safety of our students, teachers, and staff. With a background in security in the world we live in today, I know there is no such thing as being too safe or too prepared.
Moving on, what do you see as your role in supporting excellence in areas of our school corporation, including academics, extracurricular activities, and the facilities?
As a board member, I would become familiar with all aspects of what we need to do to make sure the excellence already established continues. This will be done by, once again, getting feedback from everyone involved in the educational process and by seeing what non-PHM schools provide for their students and faculty to see if we can maybe use that as a benchmark or for possible ideas. For academics, I would make sure all students and teachers have access to their materials and information to get to be successful. This would include looking into any available grants or funding that we may be eligible for, along with submitting any new state legislation we might feel is necessary. For extracurricular activities, this is an ever-evolving topic due to new clubs, sports, trends that become popular across the country. I have actually recently seen, believe it or not, professional pillow fighting and rock skipping on ESPN. So who knows what's coming down the pipe as far as those type of things. But no matter what, my view is if we're going to do something, we need to do it right, be the best at it. A perfect example of that is the Penn-High girls flag football. The amazing job coming around the gate. So I hope they understand they set the standards pretty high for that. Also during the homecoming parades, I'm always impressed and surprised by the number of clubs, teams that are here already. It's great that students have that many opportunities and options, and I want to make sure those options continue to grow by helping the schools look into even more for the students to choose from. For facilities, I'm amazed at what's been built and refurbished just in a short amount of time we've been here. The field house is going to be first class, and that is absolutely amazing. Moving forward, I want to make sure we prioritize which facilities need to be updated or built so they continue to improve the educational, athletic, and extracurricular experience for the students.
And lastly, what is the role of a school board member?
In my opinion, their role is to represent the entire school corporation in a professional manner while constantly looking for ways to improve the educational experience for not only the students, teachers, and staff, but also for the parents. This is done by constantly talking to and listening to everyone involved in the educational process and to make sure we are doing everything we can to make it the best that it can be. I will say that I've already done my part in testing out the cafeteria food for you, so you could thank me for that. I eat with my kids a couple of times throughout the year, and I never had a bad meal. I would like to see a little bit more salt added, but I don't know if I can get that one passed or not up here. But yes, I do enjoy going to have lunch with them. But as far as from my point of view, that's the role of a school board member.
Thank you, Mr. Douthat, for answering the board's questions. I now give you an opportunity to ask questions of the board if you so choose, or to make any final comments.
I really want to have two questions. And I'm not sure if this has already been looked into, but one thing that I'd be curious to see if could be done is with the field house being there, with Culver's being there, any type of crosswalk that might be installed. Like I said, that's probably been a hot topic, but it is something, especially when the days get shorter or bad weather. I just see that as an opportunity for something not good to happen.
I think we all can assure you, everybody who sits here at the table can assure you, it has been looked into. We're well aware of it, and precautions have been taken to make sure that our students are safe as they're crossing over. Thank you for the question. Yes, we're definitely aware of it.
Another thing that I wanted to ask, and once again, this could have been discussed previously, is for, with a fifth grader going into sixth grade, the Schmucker schedule with the 9 to 4, but they don't have a before or after school get a kids club. Is that something that's been looked into in the past, or that could be an option?
Dr. Short, I'm going to punt that one over to you.
Problem. So over the years, of course, we've had parents that have expressed something very similar to that. While there are some before or after school clubs at the middle school, at this point, we have not been able to create the capacity in order to do before and after school programming for students at the middle schools.
Thank you for that. That's all the questions I have. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Mr. Douthat, we thank you for your application and for agreeing to be interviewed tonight. And the board meeting, the public board meeting will now stand in recess for a period of 10 minutes, after which we'll invite the public to come back in. Thank you so much.
She should see that we're going live again here.
I'll call the meeting back to order briefly, just simply to let the public know that we are still in recess. Our next interview of a candidate is scheduled to be at 8 p.m. And when that candidate arrives or 8 p.m. occurs, we'll go back on the record and we'll stand again in recess. We are back on the record for our public meeting. Mr. Ryan Woodruff has come forward for his interview. Mr. Woodruff, the board sincerely thanks you for your application. We invite you to make an opening statement that includes general background information about yourself and the reasons you're interested in becoming a member of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees.
Thank you. Thank you, board, and thank you so much for having me. I think I'm second to last, so all the good jokes have probably already been taken. Before I start, I've been accused a few times of talking too much, so I did prepare my responses to my questions, so I'm going to read a little bit. Feel free to ask me anything you want. As a 40-year resident of St. Joseph County and a proud Penn High School graduate, it would be my honor to support the school system in this capacity. I attended Moran, Bittersweet, and Disney in elementary school and was a 4-year student and graduated Penn High School, class of 95. All 3 of my children have gone to Penn. My oldest is studying to be a teacher at IUSB. My middle is in the Navy Reserves and a local banker. And my youngest is a senior in his 2nd year of building trades and plans to stick with it. I've seen firsthand how a PHM education sets up the future for its students. I've served in leadership roles with St. Joseph County businesses for almost 30 years. And in that time, I've been responsible for hundreds of St. Joe County employees, many being PHM school system graduates. I've served on local and state not-for-profit boards since 2009 and in multiple executive board roles ranging from treasurer to president. I believe my 16-year career in financial services helps me to be uniquely qualified as a trustee with fiduciary responsibility and my career executive experience to help with planning, budgeting, and administration. I currently own a consulting and coaching company that focuses on helping local businesses build their teams and develop their employees. I created this company out of a passion to develop young professionals to grow in their careers and gain the experience and perspective to help them stand out and thrive. I believe all these experiences, skills, and passions would be valuable contributions to the existing board, the school system administration, educators, and the students. I'd like to thank you all for having me tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Woodruff. What particular qualifications would you bring to the PHM board?
Well, first and foremost, I want to express my commitment to the development of our future leaders, workforce, and community contributors. That's my passion and a deep conviction. I hope to express that in everything I do. I read a lot of the specifics in my opening statement, but I want to really focus on my background in leadership, strategic planning, board experience, and current career focus in helping to educate and prepare our future generations for success. I feel like my career has helped me build a business mindset with an educator's heart, and I believe I could bring a balanced perspective and a focus on prioritizing and solving problems quickly.
What motivates you to become a school board member?
I see it as a way to contribute by sharing all of my learnings and failures with a deserving group of board members and administrators for probably the most noble of causes, our future. While I spend my work days mentoring and coaching people in the community workforce, this is an opportunity to help use a lot of my other skills like strategic planning, budget management, prioritization, and decision-making to add value in a meaningful way.
What do you see as the biggest priorities for Penn-Harris-Madison School Corporation, and what can you do to help?
All right, great question. I have a few. So first is this board vacancy. Obviously, that's a top priority, and a desire to continue to provide credibility in governance, transparency to the public, capital commitments, and maximizing opportunity with falling budgets. Falling budgets, for example, getting the most out of our new field house and continuing to balance revenue generation with student opportunity and community engagement. And then lastly, educator and administration support to keep turnover low, interest high, and pride in our school system. I feel that strongly that all of these align with skills or experience I'm proud of and personally would be excited to help with.
Hey, what do you see as your role in supporting excellence in all areas of our school corporation, including academics, extracurricular activities, and facilities?
Thank you. That was my favorite question. I believe the most important role is to listen to all stakeholders' perspectives, provide clarity, and bring needs and opinions to the table for consideration. Then apply vision, prioritization, and budget consideration into the decision-making process. Next, I feel that adding perspective and insight helps to provide support in removing barriers and ensuring we're supporting the whole student experience and teacher engagement. Understanding that all these areas impact the others is an important part of making the best decisions possible to support what, how, and where we're expressing excellence in our school system.
Okay, and lastly, what is the role of a school board member?
I believe the school board member's role is to listen to the community, set direction, adopt policy, and make decisions based on what's best for our students. I would hope to be able to provide perspective, honor culture, and lend experience in achieving long-lasting and meaningful results.
Mr. Wilson, thank you for answering the board's questions. I'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions of the board if you so choose, or make any final comments you'd like to make.
So I'm a big team building, employee development person. I'm curious as to what specific skills or talents would be a benefit to the board in its current composition.
Would like to answer.
What would be helpful?
I'll invite other school board members also to chime in. Obviously, every one of us comes to the table with a different skill set from our occupation. I love the fact that we have a wide breadth of experience at the table. I think the key ingredient to me is somebody who's collaborative. We tend to make decisions in a way that sometimes can be misinterpreted. I often heard for years that, well, it's all rigged because every vote is unanimous. And people didn't necessarily understand that there was a lot of conversation that occurred between school board members who acted of good faith with one another that resulted in all those votes being unanimous. For example, I don't think that you'll ever find a situation where any one of the school board members looks at a particular issue and draws exactly the same conclusion. And we have had a very good routine of being able to say, here's what I would like. And then another school board member, here's what I would like. And we compromise, we work collaboratively. So those unanimous votes that sometimes can be misinterpreted are actually the product of a lot of adult, mature, collaborative cooperation that results in compromise. I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in on that.
I second that.
Well, I think one thing our administration brings a lot, they develop a lot of what we, and then it's whether we back it or we don't like it, and it gets changed.
I appreciate, thank you for letting me be here. I think I wish you guys all the best in the process and in making a decision.
Mr. Woodruff, we thank you for your application and for interviewing with us this evening. We'll now take a 10-minute recess and I'll excuse the public.
Getting done early.
We are back on the record. It's just shy of 8 p.m. and Mr. Brandon Kastner has come forward for his interview. Mr. Kastner, the board sincerely thanks you for your application and for agreeing to be interviewed. We invite you to make an opening statement that includes general background information about yourself and the reason why you're interested in becoming a member of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. You have an exhausting job. I've sat on that side of the table as well, sitting here listening to great candidates, and you have a tough decision to make because all four have been fantastic. I'm probably a little so-so, but those guys were great. So it's been wonderful hearing their experiences and their experience in the PHN system and their family. So I do feel a little out of the box too, comparatively. I grew up in the South Bend school system, Colfax and Twickenham, and then I went to Stanley Clark School from kindergarten through 8th grade, and then John Adams and Clay High School, which is where I graduated from. And then through college, Manchester, University of Notre Dame, I had some pretty rewarding educational experiences that I bring with me. Currently, I serve as the president of Holy Cross Village at Notre Dame, and it is a nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization, and it is a ministry of the Brothers of Holy Cross. So really proud of that designation. I've been in the senior living world my entire career, and the nonprofit world almost all of that as well. And so where that came from, my dad did the same thing and inspired me to do that. And I'm about 40, so I don't know if anybody's close to that age, but as a little kid, we'd go over to my grandparents' house on Friday nights, which I now realize as a parent myself, that was to kick us out so mom and dad could sleep or whatever. But we didn't have cable growing up, so my grandparents did, and we would watch like late night shows like Chips or Happy Days, things like that. And we had a school report due in 4th grade, and they said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I knew I wanted to be a motorcycle cop because of Chips, right? But that changed. That would change to other things. Like I want to be a writer. I want to be a psychologist. I want to do all these fun things. And I would go to my dad and I would say every single time, which I know annoyed him to death, but I would say, "What do you think, Dad? What do you think? Could I do it?" He said, "Son, I don't care what you do, but I want you to help people in whatever you do." And that guided me towards the mission-based services. And I really find that those values align well with what you do as board members. And what we would do as board members together is serving our neighbors, finding ways to make lives better for everybody, their experience is richer, and keeping the standards high at Penn-Harris-Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Kastner. What particular qualifications would you bring to the PHM board?
Sure. Yeah, I don't have education or experience in the education systems, but I do work a lot with nonprofit boards. I have for over 10 years. When I look at board openings as a nonprofit board, director or executive like Dr. Short, we look at the matrix and then we say, okay, well, where are our needs? What do we have? If an attorney falls off, do we need to bring an attorney on? That kind of thing. And you mentioned this in the last interview that one of the biggest skill sets that I find works most successfully is a collaborative approach, right? So we hear a lot about no ego, just compassion. That's something that I want to bring to the table is this idea that we gain a lot by listening compassionately. And while this district is large, I think those skill sets adapt to anything that we do, right? Focusing on listening, focusing on the individuals, and focusing on our mission. And I think you guys are doing that really well.
Question number 2, what motivates you to become a school board member?
Yeah, so when I read this at first, I thought, okay, personal, professional, but it would be a lie. They're both personal. One being rooted in service, rooted in commitment to serving my community. The other is I have 3 kids who are in this district. 2 are at Bittersweet right now. And I see that Bobcat on just about every other shirt my kids wear at home. And I'm buying those shirts or school books or whatever it is. I have that logo memorized at this point. So that is very personal to me. personal to our family, that experience, which isn't new to any of the candidates who've talked, right? Either they've had kids or they do have kids that have been in the system, or they themselves have been in the system. But what you're doing now, you're building momentum, exciting momentum that's bringing tremendous value to your constituency, right? All the folks that are involved in the Penn-Harris-Madison system. And that is something I'm excited about. How can I use my skill sets to contribute to this collaborative approach here at PHM?
What do you see as the biggest priorities for Penn-Harris-Madison School Corporation? What can you do to help?
So I didn't read the AI policy here before doing this, but I did download every agenda from October of 24 to now, and all the meeting minutes from October to now. And I used AI Copilot to say, help me go through all this. And so when I had all this information gathered, I identified 3 areas. So I'm going to read off 3 areas instead of you listening to me talk over and over again. But the first one, and not in any particular order, that I identified was, maintaining, sustaining academic excellence while adapting to the evolving needs of students, staff, and the community. So that's pretty important. How do we keep our standards elevated, yet meet the individual needs of everybody in the system? Number 2, the district strategic plan emphasizes rigorous instruction, student well-being, and operational efficiency. So, how do we operate effectively and still meet those needs in number 1? And then number 3 is a no-brainer. I heard Mr. Woodruff talk about this as well, but another critical priority is ensuring fiscal responsibility. So how do we maintain, number 1 and number 2 and still delegate resources appropriately to those areas? How do we give Dr. Short all the support that she needs to be successful? And what could I do to help with that? I would lean into the expertise of all of you, but I think of our community experts as well, and continue to ask questions, right? And ask questions of myself is how can I continue to be a good resource for my fellow board members, but also for the teachers, students, and families and other stakeholders in our district.
Okay, what do you see as your role in supporting excellence in all areas of our school corporation, including academics, extracurricular activities, and facilities?
Good. Yeah, thank you. Well, I continue to fall back on the same theme of how can I continue to support, right? I see myself as an advocate, a support of the student experience here in the classroom, on the stage, in the field, on the track, wherever that is. How can I support those student teacher experiences, family experiences? How can my role, I asked this question, how can my role as a member support those experiences? So as a board, how can we continue to support and promote things like DECA, robotics, teachers' educational opportunities, community education, and then how can I advocate for equitable access to all of those opportunities? So I see my role in those programs as being key supporter of all of that and making sure that everybody has equal access to that as a board member, not just one of us, but all of us. And then I think the last thing, of course, is our financial obligation and duty to the corporation and the school system. And how can we help direct resources to the administration to make sure that, the roofs don't leak, boilers work, all those fun things that nobody likes to talk about, but are essential to making sure that our students have a great learning environment.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, what is the role of a school board member?
Sure. Well, thank you. I wasn't sure how much time I would take up. Unlike Mr. Woodruff, I have never been accused of talking too much. But so I decided to bullet point these to be quick. But one of the things so I have 4, and number 1 to me is be an advocate. So advocate for everybody. Again, not the individual, but everyone. Listen with humility. I don't know if folks have heard about that before, but leave ego at the door and eliminate rigidity in thought. So it's not about me, it's not about you, us, it's about the community. Another important thing that I'm sure a teacher had taught me or said to me in the past, but be curious, ask questions, learn, right? So that's what we do. None of us know everything, so ask questions. And then number 4 to me is stewardship is an honor, right? It's not a right, it's an honor. So how do we embrace that when we make decisions? Remember that we've been given this. It's not something we take or we're born into. So those are the 4 things that I think help express what the role of the board member is to me. Hope I answered that okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Counselor, thank you for answering the board's questions. We'll give you an opportunity to ask the board any questions that you might have or to make any final comments that you'd like to make.
Well, Mr. Woodruff stole my first question about what do you need what would make a good team member? But how can we best serve the community as a board?
Anybody want to pick that one up?
Looking at me.
Go ahead.
I mean, I feel like it's important as a school board member to be present, right? So that you can listen to the community and what they think a need is that maybe we aren't aware of. People that have kids in the buildings might see things and hear things that we may not know, at this level. And we need to listen to our administrators as they tell things too, right? About things like that. But it's also about being present so that people see that it's important to you, right? I think that's a big job. And I also think it's important to become educated about this role. I mean, I will admit when I started this, I hadn't been on a school board before. Most people hadn't, right? And so there's a learning curve. And I think it's a responsibility of ours the ISBA is an Indiana School Board Association in our state that has a huge resources and has been really helpful to me to learn what exactly my roles and responsibilities are as a school board member. So
Thank you.
that's what I would say.
Make yourself available for even the small details up to the ones that make the headlines in the paper. You're going to get input and opinions and facts from our entire community, and just having to educate yourself with what the root problems are or what the whole story is. And we have an amazing administration here and getting their input on that as well. And Chris nailed the best last interview and collaborating with the group on what you hear. And my 4 years, I sat in your same position. I was appointed through an interview process, and that's probably the number one thing I've learned the most is getting all the information, whether it's the policy or legislation or Larry educating me on the budget. So it's all been helpful.
I'd also add it's about understanding that what we do here is so much bigger than ourselves. I've had the honor of being on the school board long enough now that any student who graduates from Penn High School, I've been on the board since that student was in kindergarten at PHM. And to see those students walk across the stage and shake their hand, I'm not going to lie, it is a goosebumps moment. When I think on one occasion I went to the commencement ceremony for our exceptional education students, and this won't surprise you. I cried through the entire thing. And it's because we get to understand that what we're doing here, though we're just 1/7 of a vote, none of us has any more authority than the other. But what we're doing here is just so much bigger than any individual. The whole is greater than the individual. And what we do is an extraordinary service that affects people for the rest of their lives.
If I could add something too, and Mr. McCullough touched on it a little bit in terms of, being available, just listening. All of us up here are parents, and I think when anything happens to your children, whether it is like a headline thing or something very, very small, you want to feel seen and heard. And I think that listening is just the most important thing that you can do so the community trusts you.
Well, I think I've been on 39 years.
Only.
Back then, we had to have 3 board meetings a month, and we got to do the budget. And now, as it progressed, the state keeps passing laws. They're determining how much money you got to spend, and they're determining this. they got their fingers in everything, the laws. So now I guess you gotta read the laws and follow them.
Appreciate all of your responses.
Any other questions or any other comments you'd like to make?
I have 8 questions, but I'm not going to bore you with those. So I appreciate your time and everybody's time and listening to all the candidates. It's been great. I think whomever you choose will do a wonderful job for this community, and you have a tough choice ahead. So thank you.
Mr. Castro, we thank you for your application and for being interviewed tonight. Members of the council will now make an announcement that a special meeting of the Penn-Harris-Madison Board of School Trustees to announce the selection of its newest board member will convene on Monday, November 3rd, 2025 at 9 a.m. here at the Educational Services Center. Prior to that meeting, which is also on Monday, November 3rd, there will be consideration of the proposed agreement between Penn-Harris-Madison School Corporation and the Penn-Harris-Madison Teachers Association, and that begins at 8:30 a.m. Board members, there being no further business before the board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed vote nay. Motion carries unanimously and we're adjourned at 8:15 p.m.